stop meeting like this, and then by the fifth time it's just awkward, isn't it? Hello everyone, welcome to another walk. I'm in a place called Straws Bridge, which is like a little sort of nature reserve outside of Ilkeston in Derbyshire. The name Straws Bridge actually comes from that bridge that we're going underneath. I'm on the Stanton and Shipley branch of the Midland Railway. Now this whole area was an absolute wash with railways, different collieries, different railway companies. It's a bit of a maze. So on this one, if you look at Rail Map Online, in the middle, I'm following the yellow line from the bottom, the one that loops up towards the left into Mapperley Colliery. So we'll follow this line through this little area of Straws Bridge until we get to Mapperley Junction. We'll come off of that branch. That branch went in to West Alham Colliery until 1985. West Alham Colliery had long gone, but they had some coal screenings there, and they were called Mapperley coal screenings, which is pretty confusing. Here's our first bridge. This goes over the Nutbrook Canal, and which is now the Nutbrook Trail. And it's shot off over there into those hedges. Now, so we can't get through that, it's all overgrown. So we'll walk around and then we'll try and find the track bed as this branch continues. That's another element to the confusion, is you've actually got the Nutbrook Canal kind of winding in and out as well. So you've got Midland lines, Great Northern lines, and a canal, and they're all sort of feeding all these different collieries. I'll try not to get lost and hope that the heavens don't open as well, because it's looking a bit ominous. There's a track bed up there in those trees, and here's Straws Bridge now. This wasn't here then, but people love to come and feed the duckies. Who doesn't like to feed the duckies? I used to live not far from here, and I used to bring my daughter here to feed the ducks, and that's how I discovered there was a railway line, which you can imagine I was dead excited by. She was less excited. It's very overgrown now, but that's the Stanton and Shipley branch that I was just on a minute ago, going over the top there. I'm going to come round and go left, and I'm hoping 1985. It's not that long ago. There might be a few things to find there. It's quite a quirky looking bridge, isn't it? It's nice though. I'll let this up. I remember coming here with my little one in the winter, and there was ice hanging down off of that. I always forget whether it's stalactites or stalagmites or whatever, the ones that are, you know, coming downwards rather than going upwards. We've got a bit of a path on the track bed here. It's quite overgrown. Dogs are going cray cray. But I'm far from the first up here, that's for sure. Still ballast lying around. The colliery we're walking to, Mapperley Colliery, that closed in 1967. There's nothing left of that at all. So you might wonder why I'm walking to it. Two reasons. One, there's a lot of track bed remaining, a lot of things to find. And also, I found quite an interesting story about a vanishing miner, which we'll come to when we get nearer the site. Look at this. This is quite a clear track bed. What we're going to come up to in a minute is the Great Northern Railway. So the Friargate line, if you watched the video I did the other day in Derby of the remains of the Friargate line, that line between Derby and Nottingham went across the top of this one. And so we should come up to that point quite soon. And we found our first tracks. It's kind of crazy. All the way from there, nothing. And then here, you've got what looks like a point. Yeah, there's a point there, look. That would have been the lever. You see that? Look at that. And this line, I still see the sleepers there, look, buried. It came up. Now this embankment wasn't here. They've done that, I'm assuming, to stop flooding. But actually, that up there is the Great Northern Railway. That's the railway from Eglinton Junction to Nottingham, or Derby Nottingham really, was the sort of main section. That's up there. We will complete that another time. I've already done bits and bobs of it, and that's shot off over there. That's Nottingham that way, and that's Derby that way. But what we're interested in is following the continuation of this line. It's pretty squelchy underfoot. I found some more track here as well. Let's have a look. This is even more prominent. Look at that. I'm glad that's a drill and not a mosquito, because that would be one of the biggest mosquitoes around, wouldn't it? I'll get attacked by it. There it goes. Look at that. Again, they've just left that bit there and then nothing beyond it, which seems quite strange. I have to have my wits about me a little bit with this, because if you look at the map, see there's all those, the red lines of the Great Northern, like we're past that, but these yellow lines coming through, the ones that have got the track on it that we've been walking so far, that Stanton and Shipley Branch, that actually goes into what was West Alham Colliery and West Alham Ironworks. Now that's not where we're going, so I need to make sure I don't follow the line. I need to get beyond that, and then what I should see basically is the Nutbrook Canal. So if my feet are wet, I know I'm going in the right direction, and then I hang a left and I go over that loop that you can see at the top of Rail Map Online and on into Mapperley Colliery. It's getting a bit more spicy. I'm wearing trousers. I'm learning. Still finding plenty of remains as I'm walking along. I'm waiting for a spur that came off of that Great Northern line, that red line, to come and join us. It may well be that little raised bit over there, but we'll go and explore that in the next video. I'm going to try and get some miles in today in this area because there's so much going on. I'm just hoping the weather holds out, because at the moment I'm kind of under a little like tree sort of canopy and it's all right, but in a bit, once we get out onto that Mapperley branch, then it's open season. Just spotted that there. Even more bits and bobs. So as I said, this bit didn't go till 1985, but that's related more to West Alham Colliery and to the Mapperley coal oh god, hang on, screening site that was there. So we'll talk about that in the next video because it's related to that as opposed to the Mapperley branch. Okay, I've come to a decision time. I think that coming over here is probably that spur coming off the Great Northern. That's where I've just come from. That I think will take you into the ironworks and the colliery at West Alham. So I think this will be the Mapperley branch because it needs to go over the canal, and I'm pretty sure in that dip that is the canal. Because there's so much going on, it's a bit of a blag job at the best of the times, but because it's so overgrown, obviously, because it's been loads of rain and loads of sunshine over the last couple of months, it's just nature's having a field day. Okay, so this is coming over the Nutbrook Canal, so I think I'm heading in the right direction here, up towards Mapperley Colliery. So this bit I'm on now, this bit didn't close in 1985, this bit went in the late 60s. I see there's a lock there, or what would have been a lock there. Okay, clambering down onto the Nutbrook Canal then. So this would have been a lock, like we said earlier. And there's your railway bridge. Blue brick, but that concrete top looks, you know, not original probably. Okay. So I'll cling to this because I know this path eventually comes and joins where I'm meant to be, basically. I can feel little drips now. I think I said earlier that this Mapperley Colliery closed in 1967. If I did, I was wrong. 1965. But they were going to open cast it, which means basically get rid of all the, you know, all the shafts down, basically just dig the whole lot out. In the 1950s. In a minute, I need to do a left to cross those fields basically and follow Mapperley Brook. I don't know if there's a track bed there. Probably not, knowing my luck, but that's where I'm meant to be going. All the paths around here, can you hear that rain? All the paths around here basically look the same. It's like I'm half expecting David Bowie to come around the corner any minute, do you know what I mean? Like he's still stuck in the labyrinth. Okay, this could be it, this could be it. So the branch has come across. Go across this field. I don't know if this is a railway bridge, probably not, almost certainly not. Although it is on the route of it, so it could be. Look at the weather. Look at that, it's grim, isn't it? Oh, mate, it's July. Okay, excuse the wind. But this is the track bed. Oh, cows are going crazy. This is the track bed. I'm hoping this isn't private land. It didn't say it was, but you never know, do you? Hopefully not. I'm going to follow this as far as I can get towards Mapperley Colliery. Oh, mate. Squelchy feet. Soaking. What do they think I'm feeding them? There's not much evidence that we're on a track bed at the minute. It's just access to a farm. But looking at the maps, it is where I'm meant to be. Oh, there's a sleeper there, is there? There's finally a little bit of evidence. Up there, you're going into sort of Shipley Country Park, and all those collieries that were in that area. Lots and lots of them. And here's a bridge. So you can see that blue brick again. East Midlands. Those cottages there, they're the cottages for the West Alham Colliery, which is in those trees and those trees. I'm going to explore that in the next video, but at the moment I'm going to carry on this Mapperley branch of the Midland Railway. So I'm still on the track bed. What was the track bed, but it's just this farm access path, and it stinks. I'll show you why. It's just a little mound as far as the eye can see. Oh, mate, there must have been some politicians around here. Okay, we're very much on a track bed now. Tree lined, which is always a clue. So, the disappearing miner. Interesting story that I found on the Derbyshire history blog related to this colliery, to Mapperley Colliery, about a gentleman by the name of Thomas Severn, spelt as in the River Severn. Now, on the 5th of June 1918, he was an under manager at Mapperley Colliery. He's only 43, 5 kids, and he's there in the staff room or the equivalent, singing away, entertaining everyone because he's got a concert that weekend. Everyone's enjoying themselves. They all go down, start the shift. Everyone comes up, but Thomas doesn't. No one knows where he is, no one's seen him. Where is he? So they send out search parties down into all the different corridors and stuff down in the pit, underground. They get teams to come up from other collieries. And I was looking into the cost. I estimated around about £53,000 in today's money trying to find Thomas Severn. Couldn't find him. His son, Claude, was the last person to see him alive before he went down into the pit. And he noted that he seemed off, didn't seem himself, wasn't very talkative. So that kind of fed into these 3 different theories. One being that he'd taken his own life. The other being that he was murdered, and maybe, he knew it was coming. And the third being that he basically wanted to escape his life. So he'd done a runner, changed his appearance and escaped, disappeared. Those were the 3 theories. But apparently at the time, none of them seemed to stack up. But that didn't change the fact that no one could find him anywhere. And this went on for decades and decades. People gave up, basically. And then in 1950, or around the early 50s, as I mentioned earlier, they were talking about open casting this mine, which obviously got the attention of Thomas Severn's family, particularly his son. Word got out during this open cast mining in the 1950s, in a particular area of the colliery, only a small area, because obviously the colliery didn't close till 65, but they open cast mined a small area, and that small area happened to be where he was last seen. Word comes out, they found some remains. His son runs down there, and the people on shift go, no, we haven't found anything. Which seems like almost a bit of a cruel prank, really. Hopefully just a bit of confusion and whatever, and not someone intentionally being cruel, but so that's the end of it. Also, we thought, until 1988. Right, bearing in mind, he's gone missing on the 5th of June, 1918. So 1988, a letter is sent to the Ilkeston Advertiser. And this letter came from a lad called Greg. Now this lad was quite well in with the local history society. And so he's got wind of basically a deathbed confession from one of only 2 people that knew what happened that day in 1918. Now I don't know whether it was a deathbed confession in the sense of trying to make their peace with God, or what. One would assume perhaps it was that. But either way, the story that they told that made its way to Greg, which made its way to the Ilkeston Advertiser in 1988, was that basically the pit had fallen on hard times. And so what they were doing is they were exploring areas underneath the ground that had been written off. Now you weren't supposed to do that apparently at the time. As soon as you stopped a certain area, you had to blow it up, basically you had to lock it off. So that when the inspectorate came round and took a look at it, oh no, I don't need to check down there, that's been blocked off, that's fine. So that wouldn't be on the safety checks. But what they were doing is they were going off and exploring these areas, trying to find decent coal seams, because as I say, they were struggling. I don't know why I'm pointing behind me, it's actually in front of me, the colliery. And that's what happened that day. So this person says they were exploring different areas. They got wind that an inspectorate was going to come round, so they panicked and quickly set off some explosives and sealed this particular corridor underground. But poor Thomas Severn was still in there. And I guess he's still in there, hundreds of feet underground. If that story's true, I have no reason to doubt it or believe it, if I'm honest. But that's the mystery of the disappearing miner, Thomas Severn. So, over the right here, that's what goes back to Straws Bridge, where we've come from. Back to Mapperley Junction. There are some nice pods, nice motors. But that's the bridge, and then that way, you can't get down that way. But basically, it went underneath, as they do with bridges, into that field, and then followed it right, real sharp turn round to the right, which is filled in now, but you can get into that field. If I could just go a bit further on down here, there's a path to the left. So is that cow. Nearly at the end of the walk now. Unfortunately, you can't get to the colliery site. It's all privately owned. And as I said earlier, it was all open cast mined anyway, so there's nothing left. But when you go into this field, it goes across what was the old track bed, and when I look at the maps, because this public footpath, this public right of way has always been there basically, there was a little bridge that went over that railway. So I'm wondering if there's anything left of that, or if I'm going to be disappointed at the end and it's an anticlimax. Okay, so here's this public footpath. Would have gone across the track bed. Right. That one's dressed like a Mexican wrestler as well, and that one. Okay, I'm just going to keep my head down. They've got those things covering their eyes, the horses, and I get that because they get flies all over their eyes, don't they? I always feel sorry for horses when I see that, but at the same time they are in a field full of their mates, drop-ins. and someone's covered their eyes so they can't see where they're munching. It just seems a bit harsh, that. Right, the wind's getting up, and I know that because one, the noise, and two, I'm walking across an airport. I wasn't aware this was here. Okay, so all these fields here, that's the colliery, basically, and into those woods. And this is where that bridge would have been. Nah, there's nothing but a bit of mud. So there's Mapperley Colliery, what once was. Okay, so that's the end of the line. I'm going to have a walk back now to that bridge where I pointed out the West Hallam Colliery cottages. Remember that bit? That's where I'm going to walk back to now, and then I'm going to start by exploring West Hallam Colliery and West Hallam Ironworks, and then make my way back to Strawbridge or back to that Great Northern Line, the Red Line, following that spur onto that. So that's one walk done today. Thanks for watching, as always. Thanks for subscribing, I really appreciate it. Click like, subscribe, comment. I'm out of breath. See you next time.